You're listening to The Middle Age Gamers from Dimension X.
Three, two, one. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of Magdx. I am GI Gamer 1981. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And this sexy author over here is Trishara, the other cohort within Magdx. He has a new book coming out, the Video Game Collector's Field Guide, a 4-volume condominium packed with 2,400 pages of consoles, handhelds, tabletops, and a checklist of thousands of games, both popular and, everyone's favorite word, rare. That's you, Metal Jesus. Also available in digital and hard copy editions. It's currently on Kickstarter with only 9 days to go. Less than a week is coming up. You want to make sure you put in. You don't have to buy all the books. It's a la carte based on your preferences. How you doing, IBARRA?
I'm doing great. And to piggyback off of that, yeah, if you're a Nintendo fanboy, there's a Nintendo book. If you're a Sega fanboy, well, all the Sega stuff is in one book too. So if you don't feel like taking a hit to your wallet and you just want to support me with one book, hey, that's fine. I really appreciate it no matter what you guys do. But there is an option for you. As far as my week is going, a lot better. I actually remembered my badges this week. So, I didn't have to have Natalie come out and give them to me. And I didn't have to cuss like a sailor whenever I realized that I didn't have them.
You know what's funny about that? You know what's really funny about that? Why don't they just make kind of like spare keys? Why don't they just give you like 2 of them? So you just in case you have one on you, just in case.
Can you imagine the rash of people like, oh, sorry, I lost my badge, my spare badge. Yeah, that would happen all the time.
It would happen a lot. It's funny because I remember where we used to work, and I used to hate that walk in and be like, or you had to wait for someone to come and get you. It's always a fun portion of that.
When you get the temporary badge that's just like a mark of shame.
Yes, and they have to chant your name while they're in there, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pretty good week, except for I wasted an hour and a half waiting to go to therapy. And let me no offense to doctors and nurses out there, but lately I've been having a lot of problems with trying to get in for medical care, and I got really frustrated about it today. And I really need it because 1, I'm diabetic, and 2, everyone needs help sometime. So, I hate when someone wastes your time. Time is very essential, especially in life. So please I understand there's a lot of grumpy people out there that call you guys a million times, but you guys are crucial to, survivability of the world. So I do appreciate everything you guys do, but please don't maybe waiting outside for an hour and a half. That's not good. And
yeah, it's super frustrating.
It was a crazy weekend with your booby pillow. It started out me sleeping on it, and then my son Logan started to enjoy it. And this is exclusively on YouTube, so I'm sorry, guys, but it is what it is. He gave me this sweet pillow, and you probably see him on Instagram and Facebook with this.
Yeah, buddy.
It started out as mine, and then my son got a hold of it. And then my wife got a hold of it.
Oh, man.
And the way I played it off was I was like, oh, I lost to a bar in Street Fighter, and I have to put this pillow thing on there. I didn't tell her about the Magdx punishment, but she had a good laugh about it, and also it was a funny picture. I wish I could show everybody. She was literally laying next to it. It looked like she had her arms on the boobs, which I thought was hilarious. So pretty fun stuff at the Coffin household, thanks to your sweet, sweet booby pillow. All right, today's
that's the least I could do.
It is nice. It will be nice. I'm gonna put it up in my room for sure. It's going on up there tonight, next to her, and I'm just gonna taunt her with it. Today's topics are gonna be, of course, the pickups. IBARRA's Night in the Movies. He's gonna give us a review on Alien 3, aka GI Alien. Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Power, CGC craziness, Magdx retrospectives. It's where we basically give each other a game to try out for a week, and then last week's corrections. So we'll start off with you, sir, as usual. What pickups did you get?
Okay. These were actually both pickups that I got today in the mail. You know what? And I don't think I mentioned the other one, but anyway, it's related. I got Dead Cells for PS5.
I gotta get one of those.
Yep. Well, that one might be yours because I now have 2 copies of PS5 Dead Cells. I just didn't realize.
You can't.
I forgot. I always do that. I forget that I because I got the signature edition, which I probably ordered 3 years ago, because that's just the way it happens with those companies. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to get Dead Cells Castlevania. It's coming out. So then apparently I ordered it through someone else, and here it is. So I have 2 copies now. I
will pay you for that copy, so I have a copy. Because
PS5 no, sir. Find one. Sifta.
No way, Sifta.
Did you not? Yeah, we got Sifta.
Sifta.
I'm sorry. You signed the charter, and now you're part of Sifta.
Listen, these NATO charges are always ridiculous, but I do appreciate them. Yeah. And I will for sure try to find. I have to play through it anyway because I haven't had a chance to play through it. I've been kind of living off of you and with it, so it'd be fun to finally play Dead Cells. I'm a big Metroidvania fan, so I want to try it out for sure.
Well, my experience with that, you remember, right? Like,
yeah,
I played the DLC, but I played it on Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, excuse me, and like the Castlevania stuff just never showed up. Like they just ignored that I exist. Like Richter and Simon or whoever's in the game were just like hiding behind doors laughing at me, like just making fun of me as I was like traversing trying to find them. Jerks. So I never got to play any of that Castlevania DLC. But
I think it'd be funny too because I know like it's there's like a certain way of getting there. But I think it's funny is that most people are going to buy it because they're so Castlevania hungry, you know what I mean?
Oh,
and then they just want to play the DLC and not play the rare game, which I feel bad for Dead Cells because Dead Cells is actually a really what I've heard, it's very amazing.
Don't feel bad for Dead Cells. Feel bad for me. Feel bad for Castlevania fans.
Listen.
Feel bad for the poor souls who have to put up with Konami not giving me what I want.
So
feel bad for me.
Just let you guys know that if you don't know, he has a Simon Belmont shower curtain in his house, and he also has a whip for some reason. I don't understand why he has this whip, but I'm afraid he's gonna.
That's not
somebody.
Related to Castlevania in
he's
any
also,
way, shape, or form.
He also won't tell you either that he broke his rail trying to look for wall meat in his house.
Hungry. I was really hungry,
dude.
It was late at night. I was downstairs. I was really lazy and didn't want to go upstairs where my food is. So I just, I played. I know how it works. I know where the food is in the games. I've got plenty of breakable walls for some reason. I mean, the inspectors really should have found that, but
yeah.
Yeah. That's all it was.
You're like, I smell Papa John's pizza. It must be in this wall.
Smells like barbecue chicken pizza.
Yes. Dude, that Philly one was off the chain, by the way.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's an amazing pizza.
Off the chain.
I'd never had that one before. I'm getting that one again.
Very surprised.
So I got that, and then this was my second pickup, which showed up in the mail today, and that is the Playdate.
You're going on a date with Playdate.
It's so good, man. And for those of you who are not familiar, I say that a lot. For those of you who are not familiar with the Playdate console, its gimmick, should I say, is that it has a little crank to play games with. So you can make your character go forward, or there's all sorts of things. I mean, you can imagine it's probably going to be a fishing game for this too.
I can't wait. That's my favorite. I hope they get Sega Bass Fishing for it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. It's giving me a little notification. I don't know if you can see that light lighting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means, but
they have like new games like every week and stuff. I heard like they have like new games. I don't know what the timeline is, but they have certain games that come out like certain weeks you can download and play and all that stuff.
Yeah, the way the Playdate works, I mean, like this console, again, I mean, this is like a recurring theme where like you buy something a year and a half ago and then it finally shows up at your doorstep. That's the same thing with this Playdate. It's been so backfilled backlogged or whatever. That I've been waiting that long for this thing. Like I literally ordered it over a year ago.
Isn't it funny
works,
like on stuff like all the the freaking analog we had, the freaking the
your
PS5 was
Polymega,
like that. It's like it's all over the place. It's like you have to wait a year out to get anything.
It's
anymore.
everything. To be a gamer nowadays, like a modern gamer, you better have some patience, dude.
For sure.
Yeah.
My Polymega took like what 2 years until I got all my console pieces for it. It was insane.
I mean, yeah, back in the day, like in the 80s and 90s, like you could pre-order, well, not so much the 80s,
Not
but
really.
in the 90s you could pre-order like consoles and stuff and you had to wait. But it was nothing like this.
I think it started around the N64 era because I remember, and this is a funny story for you. I told you this story. I was in a line. This is when the whole like Tickle Me Elmo craze was going on. So they got a shipment of Tickle Me Elmos, and these ladies were like fighting over them. But they got like N64s in, and of course I couldn't afford it. But I saw a guy in front of me have the box, and this guy walked behind him. He opened the box and he slid all the stuff out while the guy was waiting in line, and then he walked over to another clerk and said, "Hey, I don't know how this happened, but the box came up missing. Can I still buy this?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." So he got like a barcode. He scanned it. He bought it. And when he was walking out the door, the dude figured out that it was just a box. He saw the guy running out, and the dude bolted out of his car and took off. So the dude got screwed out of his pre-order for fucking
what a jerk.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That's so mean.
Have you played any games on it so far?
Any games? What? I'm sorry.
On the date?
Oh, on the play
Have
date.
you played any games so
No,
far?
I literally like whenever I opened it up, sometimes when you buy a new console, it's got like a little bit of a charge, and you can turn it on and play it. No, this one was like dead. So I had to charge it first. So I downloaded.
I've always said it's not backlit, right?
No, it's not backlit.
It's not okay.
But it has a screen that's like dot matrix, kind of really like old school, but it's like non-reflective, so it's really high quality. Like it's nothing like the Game Boy screens that we had to look at when we were kids and like hope to get it in the right lighting. It's pretty tolerant as far as like the lighting goes. You can see it in a whole lot of different lighting scenarios.
When you showed up on the screen right now, I saw it like perfectly. Like I saw the time and everything like that. I remember as a kid, I used to hate that. I remember I'd go on freeways and I would wait for lights and I would do a spot, then I would stop and then I'd wait for another light and do the spot again and stuff. It was horrible.
Well, the struggle was real.
I wish it would have been backlit. I think if it was backlit, I think I would have bought one. I would have pre-ordered one of those. But like, I just feel like they're going to have another one come out in the future. And I think with all the feedback and stuff from people, I think it's going like that. But it's pretty cool that you get like it's kind of like a Street Pass thing, like you said. Like you can just get these games randomly, and these different developers. Like you could probably develop something for it if you wanted to,
I could.
So it's pretty sweet. It's like got such a back level of community,
and the thing about like the release schedule, it came out a long time ago, and that's whenever they started like week 1, week 2, week 3, whatever. But whenever you purchase your console and you register your console, that's when week 1 starts for you. So now, I have games to look forward to next week and the week after that, even though like these games have been out, I have to wait. So it's kind of cool. It's a forced cool kind of thing. I wish they would have done it a little bit differently that way. I mean, one of the gimmicks was that like if everyone got their consoles at the same time, then everyone with a play date would have these games to talk about with each other. But since the schedule has been so wonky and people getting their play dates at all different times in these like year and a half, that's really not a thing. And it's a missed
so I have more question for you. Does it have Wi-Fi capability, or do you have to connect it up to something? Oh, it does? Okay.
Yep, it's got Wi-Fi.
I was always curious about that. I was wondering if it had like a docking thing where you had the dock on the computer and then download your game and stuff like that. Like I didn't know.
So this thing is so old school. Like I just downloaded an MP3 player for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
WinNap, here we come.
Yeah, WinApp, iTunes.
WinApp was the best. I don't give a shit what anyone says. WinApp is the best. He used to have that cool. had the cool backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah,
God,
you
it
got
was
skins.
such a-
I had a Super Mario Brothers skin.
I had a Metallica one. It was pretty awesome. Uh, do you got any more pickups?
No, that was it. Just those two.
Okay, so I got a couple. I finally found this one, which I'm pretty excited about. The new updated version of Samus.
Hey.
So I checked both ones. So the difference is this: you can actually move the shoulder blades on this one.
Huh.
It has 17 points of articulation, so you can like have her like hold the gun and all types of stuff like that. Even in the feet and then the grips, they did like a whole like update to it. And I thought I was going to get mad if it was like the same one because I have all the other variants with them. The gold like one you found me, the Phantom suit, the gravity suit, and all those. But it's pretty cool. The morph ball looks terrible, but what I like what they did, I think this is the prime version of Samus because if you look in the detail, if you can see it, and this is exclusive to YouTube, they put those green lines on the inside of it, and they did that during prime. So
okay,
I think this is a prime version of Samus.
dude, that's a
really
subtle
cool
detail I wouldn't have known about.
It is in Walmart stores. They also have a Breath of the Wild Zelda that they had there, but I've been looking for this one. This one's the harder one to find for some reason. Samus doesn't get that much love, but happy to have it. I finally completed my Mario Party, except for I know there's say Fortune Street, but that's a side game.
No,
But
yeah,
I finally found Mario Party 9.
Yeah,
and I heard it's really good, but the thing is that this is like I don't know what it is, but this thing's going up in price. I don't know why.
All those Mario Party games do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Mario Party, I have no idea why, but ever since the N64 games, yeah, they hold their value and then some.
And I tried to buy this when it first came out, but they didn't make that many copies. This is when the Wii was kind of going out of the thing. It was going towards Wii U, and they didn't make a lot of copies of these. So I don't know if that has something to do with that, but now I have 1 through 10 because I have the 10 on the Wii U. I think it's the last one. I know they have like the ones that are on the 3DS and stuff like that. I don't have those, but the numeral set I have.
Yeah.
One you kept telling me to buy over and over again. I kept delaying, and I said I'm not going to do it anymore. Ghost Squad from Sega gun game, and you can also be a panda bear if you see on the back there. That's that panda bear suit I was telling you about. I got.
Yeah.
Pretty cool game. I liked playing it. I shouldn't have waited. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you, sir. But I'm happy to have this. Another light gun game for the Wii. The Wii is known for like such great light gun games, and they got the Resident Evil series. They got Dead Space. They got all these great ones on there. And if you are a big fan of light gun games, I would definitely look on the Wii. And you also found me the hardest one, which was LA Guns, which I appreciate as well.
LA Machine Guns.
Love that game. So
I love
awesome.
that game in the arcade, man. Shakes the shit out of you.
And of course, this last beautiful pickup right here. He decided to have me have this while we're playing our Magdx retrospective, which we talk about later. This is from the game that he picked for me, and it's just hilarious. It's been a random joke in my house, and I absolutely love it.
Oh,
those are
so funny.
all my pickups.
Nice.
Next for you, sir, is IBARRA at the movies. We're going to be talking about the 1990s finale to the original Alien series until she became a clone and did all kinds of weird stuff. Alien 3. And I wanted to hear what you thought of it.
All right. So after a bunch of struggling, last week I said that it wasn't working on my console. And that's because Sony did some stupid thing, and I wish I would have mentioned it last week, and I did about slightly a little bit about how Sony should have had something like if there's a driver missing, like automatically download that thing. Don't make me go out and get it. But the BD Live thing that you were talking about was actually enabled on my console already, so it wasn't BD Live that was the issue. It's just for some reason it will not play on a PlayStation 5. Don't know why.
It's weird.
Yeah.
PS4 has like 3D movies and audio and all that stuff. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah, and think about this. And this is something that I was kicking myself whenever I was listening back the podcast. Sony, Blu-ray is a Sony technology. How is a Sony piece of tech not compatible with Blu-ray, which is Sony?
You know what it is? We're going towards digital, and their mindset is that we're going to watch it on Netflix and not play it on a physical disc.
Yeah, I know. Well, anymore they've gotten away from compatibility apparently, which is, I don't know, unforgivable.
you remember like on the computer a long time ago, we would have all like Kodak and all that type of stuff. That like you would need certain ones, and that sucked. You had VCD.
Well, VC. No, what was the app that had the road cone?
VLC.
VLC. Yeah, that thing was compatible with everything.
Everything, yeah. And then when you took that away, you did like Windows Media Player. You had nothing.
Yeah.
I still use VLC to this day. It's my favorite.
Yeah, VLC is amazing. I just couldn't remember what it was called. So anyway, I had to I did the normal thing before I like busted out everything for my Xbox and tried it on there. I'm like, okay, does Amazon have it? No, I have to rent it. Does Netflix have it? No, they don't. Does Max have it? No. But Hulu did.
Yep.
Hulu to the rescue. So I watched Amazon. I watched Aliens 3 on Hulu. And I think it was the theatrical release. So I didn't get to see that like uncut, how it was supposed to be version. All right. I will say this. Not being an Aliens fanatic or whatever, not watching. I mean, like I only saw the original one probably 3 years ago for the first time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I thought it was going to be more of the same, but it was a really, really boring like scenario that they put them in. It's like, okay, yeah, her ship crash landed on some like old defunct prison where the guys are celibate and whatever. It was just really boring. Like and it's crazy because the facility was so huge. They didn't even know like the scope of the entire thing. What did they say? It was like 20 square miles, this prison?
Yeah, it was huge.
It's insane.
Well, basically it's a planet where they can't get off of, and so the company keeps them on there to keep the lights on, just in case they want to use it again.
Yeah.
But so they get all the crappy stuff.
I mean, I get the suspense, the fact that like an alien hitched a ride, like an egg hatched and then a face hugger, like somehow got on Sigourney Weaver's face, laid an egg inside of her, and this whole time she doesn't know that she's festering a queen. She's gonna hatch a queen. But like, one by one, this alien like hatches from this dog that gets infected. Poor dog. And of course, that's the part where Natalie like walks in, and I'm like, you're not gonna want to watch this. Yeah, she's like, why? I'm like, because the dog's about to die. She's like, no. So
here's what makes no sense about that part. The face hugger, it's just like any kind of embryo. If it latches onto you, it dies immediately afterwards. But then I'm like, so this mysterious face hugger got Sigourney Weaver, flew on the thing, and then all of a sudden got the dog too. I'm like,
okay, I didn't know that part.
About that, yeah. Because like in every movie, like when they hook on you, it's just a one-time deal, and then they die. Because even in the first Alien movie that happened to I think his name's Ash, I think it is. He got hooked on his face, and then it died. And that's how it always did in every movie. It's kind of like a bee. It stings you once, then it dies.
Yeah. Okay.
So very weird.
I enjoyed the beginning of it. Like, I mean, the acting was pretty cool. Like, they had some interesting characters. The warden was funny.
With the ball.
Yeah, with the racquetball. And then yeah, like freaking she was down to fuck like immediately. Like,
hey man, 50 years not getting no tail, man. She gotta get her business going.
Yeah, well, she did. And then he's like, hey, I really appreciate it. I mean, out of any of the characters, he was the smartest. He was the doctor of the whole place. So yeah, I get it.
So he was the Beverly Hills plastic surgeon that was doing drugs, and then he killed a bunch of people, and then that's why he got sent there. Yeah, which is hilarious.
Yeah, poor guy, ruined his prestigious career. What could have been. But then, toward the end of the movie, whenever they're like coming up with these like harebrained ways to trap the alien and like pour lead on it, and then like dude, I was so confused. They're like, they're trying to like chase or have it chase them into a certain area, but like I had no idea what was going on. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'll just like turn my brain off and just watch. They didn't do a very good job like explaining exactly what they were trying to do.
Well, they did a little bit of it. They were like, she was like, do you got any weapons or fire capabilities on there? And they're like, we have nothing. And she's like, well, we're effed.
Yeah.
And so then they tried nuclear waste. And the funniest portion of that is this dude's carrying the spark of it, and like, yeah, let's just carry it up a ladder in my hands, like crap in your pocket. Like, I would not be holding that thing while I'm climbing up. That was silly. And I also think that portion of the movie was a waste. Now, the chase scene in the middle, that makes more sense. Okay, we're going to lure him into this place to lock him in. That makes sense. I don't think the nuclear waste should have been there in the first place. I think they had so many like prisoners. I think they were just trying to find a way to off them off as quick as possible to keep a certain amount of characters.
Yeah.
And then of course I like the preacher guy, the guy who played
he was cool.
main preacher. He was awesome. I think he did a great job of playing that role. And he also, what I like about him is that he did a lot of crazy stuff, but he like repented for all this stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But the lead scene was pretty funny. And then also the
well, let's not glean. Let's not go past the lead scene without talking about how cheesy the CG looked whenever it jumped out of the lead.
Hey, that was T1000 era, man. That was like first CG.
No, but the T1000 looked good. That alien looked terrible.
Well, it's funny because Argonos, the same company, made the T1000, the ones that made Star Fox and Donkey Kong. That computer is the same one they used. Isn't that kind of crazy?
I did not know that. Yeah,
Argonauts basically had a computer that basically did that rendering, and Hollywood had it first, and Nintendo wanted to bring it to there so they can keep the Super Nintendo alive, which is why they have Star Fox 2, and then Donkey Kong. Because Rare used that same computer, which is pretty interesting. I saw a documentary on it. It was pretty good.
That's really cool.
The thing that makes me laugh about the movie is the one guy in the movie that like basically you think he's like a B character in the background. He's like the only one that survived at the end of it.
Yeah.
And they brought Bishop back a couple of times where he was the android broken, and then he was also the boss of the company.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Whenever we found out that she's got the queen inside of her, obviously she's gonna sacrifice herself, throw herself in the incinerator, which is exactly what happened. I thought the movie went out with a wet fart.
Well, I think the ending was good. I mean, in the 90s, everyone died in lava. Terminator died in lava. Alien died in lava.
Yeah.
Everyone just died in a burning death in the 90s. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Gosh, you got me. Yeah, so I enjoyed the beginning of the movie more than I enjoyed the end of the movie. So my rating for Alien 3 is, I'll give it 3. I'd buy that for $1 out of 5. I
will say I will give it 3.5 Jack Burtons.
Yeah.
It's all in the reflexes. I wish they would have had Hicks. I think if Hicks was in the movie, I think it would have worked better because she would have a love interest into him, and you wouldn't have to bring that silly doctor, and then they could work together to figure out how they're going to destroy the alien. Yeah, I know the little girl died, but I think that would bring more, because it was funny because the guy who played Hicks, they never offered him an opportunity at the movie. He heard about it and he was like, they even like asked me to come back, and he said they basically asked him for his likeness. And at first he said no, but he's like, then they paid me a bunch of money, and I said yes, and then they found out I was dead.
Nice.
He's like, so I died in Terminator and I died in Alien without even being on the screen.
Nice.
But all right, sir, we got your next 3 movies here.
All right.
I'm going to shuffle them up quick since I don't know what one I had them last week.
All right.
All right.
Something's telling me to pick A.
Well, you just picked yourself another Jean-Claude Van Damme classic.
All right.
This one's called Cyborg.
What in the world is that?
So this movie is kind of like a B side of it. Think of like Mad Max and kind of like cyborg robots.
Okay.
And that's what you get with this one. It's made by Canon. Just let you know, Canon is the same ones that made Terminator and all those ones. They were really obsessed with robots and stuff. The main character, you're gonna laugh at. He's gonna grunt at you for probably every part of the movie. But it's a B Van Damme movie you probably never seen before, and it's really, really good.
Okay.
So I can't wait to hear next week about Cyborg.
Yeah, dude, I've never heard of that movie in my life.
No one really does know. You know how I found out about it? It was one of those free Showtime things. Like you get like a weekend free.
Okay.
And me and my mom, because we're cheapos, we would go get VHS tapes and we would record the entire weekend. And then we just
we used to do that with Disney Channel all the time. Anytime it was free.
We used to like record the hell out of it. I had one epic fucking VHS tape. It was Short Circuit 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Super Mario Bros. The movie, and Bloodsport.
Oh, nice. I couldn't tell you
a 2-volume VCR tape.
I couldn't tell you what was on our Disney Channel stuff, but it was definitely some Disney movies and like Dumbo Circus or something like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. I missed the VCR. Good times. All right, next, I know there's been all these rumor mills about the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out in 2024. I know a lot of people are possibly excited for it, but you know how Nintendo goes. They're very, very slow with the updates and things like that. There's a rumor mill that the devs have their copy of it, but no one can confirm that. So we thought we would make an interesting topic. What do we want in the next Nintendo Switch 2? We'll start with you, IBARRA. What do you want to be added in Nintendo Switch 2?
Nintendo is not going to reinvent the wheel with the Switch 2. It's going to be sleek, though. It's going to be much nicer looking. I think they're actually going to like make it a really sexy piece of tech, kind of like if Apple made a Nintendo Switch.
Glossy.
Yeah. Cool, like aluminum angles, whatever. Probably not, because it's a kid's toy, but I'm hoping that it is something like that. Like it'll look more akin to the cell phones of today, like Apple and the stuff that's coming out for like Galaxy. I'm not saying that it's going to have like a bendable screen. That's a couple generations off, but we're getting there. And one of the predictions that I've been making, and I mean, they're still going to stick with the handheld and docked hybrid. That's just too popular to go away from right now.
Yeah.
They'd be idiotic to get away from that right now. That's such a successful formula. But what they will do is, in order to supplement the on-the-go gaming and the multiplayer aspect of it, they're going to be able to, and I'm predicting that the screens themselves are going to be bezel-less, absolutely bezel-less.
Yep.
So that when you take two screens, you can actually connect them together to make one
cool.
big screen. Or like 4 screens or something like that. I think that you're going to be able to connect them like Megazord of Nintendo Switches to make it a bigger screen for on the go multiplayer gaming. The second prediction that I have, and this one better come true, Street Pass is back. Street Pass is coming back. You heard it here. It better come back.
It was super popular.
Oh, I love it. It's such an awesome thing. I can't believe that they did away with it after the 3DS. It encouraged people to get out there with their consoles and then meet other people. It was just something cool to like look forward to. People took them to conventions, all this other stuff, and it was such a cool concept that I have no idea why they ditched it, but it's going to come back with Nintendo Switch 2.
My predictions, I have 2 or 3, and the first one is I do think the dock is a big thing, but I think it's going to go away. I think they're going to have enough technology now where they can just make a receiver that connects to the TV, and when you're in the area, it automatically connects to the TV. Instead of paying a bunch of money and stuff like that, like Steam Deck on them have like those docks and things like that. But I think Nintendo is going to make the technology to make it where it's just in a receiver.
Yeah.
When you're in close reference to it, and then instead of you having like a Pro controller or anything like that, your screen will turn off, and you can basically have that as your controller instead of the all those things around it. Because most time when I'm going out with it, you're used to playing it on the thing. Your Pro controller is great, but I think they will have a Pro controller for it. But I think that like you won't require to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Another they should put into this, and I think it'll be great, is what are we missing now? Like with friends, how you're saying Street Pass, couch co-op. What about like a 4-way to play Mario Kart together when you're in a close area? Instead of you having to have like all the disc, you just basically have one person has it, and you all connect to that person, and you play games. Kind of like GoldenEye or anything like that. Have like a four-person co-op thing. Bring back your N64 roots, with those type of things, and built on that. The other thing is, I think it's going to be up to PS4 technology.
Yeah.
I feel like the Switch was a PS3 technology. I feel like this is going to be a PS4, and I also think there's going to be dual carts. I think they'll have one to have backwards capability with the Switch, and then one that's going to be with the new Switch. So you'll be able to play your old games and play your new games in the Switch, because the Switch is way too popular still to like give that up.
Yeah.
And then I also thought about the co-op thing, with the 4-player co-op. Think about Pokemon. You all could battle right there on a one thing. You could bring back, the what was that, Pokemon Coliseum or things like that, and have people play it, because they're whose generation's coming up? The N64 era and also the PlayStation era.
Yeah.
So that'd be crucial to get those 30 and 40-year-olds locked into it.
Yeah, you're coming up on the 20th anniversary of most of these really popular consoles.
Yeah, you have like Diddy Kong Racing. You have like all those like fun like 4-player games that are on there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I think it's going to be finally 4K. I don't think 4K is expensive anymore. I think 4K is going to be the because it's basically almost going to be close to standard TV. 8K is coming in soon. But I think 4K is going to be the standard. 1080p is going adios, muchachos. I think all the P's are going away. I think it's going to be 4K, 8K, and then 12K, because they're already working on a 12K right now. So that's where I think it's going to be. It definitely will be a 4K. I hope do the same screen as they did for the update that they did for this. I love the OLED screens.
Yeah.
I think OLED 4K will look amazing.
Well, this is where Nintendo does their traditional frustrate us, because I don't think they are going to, for the launch console, come out with an OLED screen. I think that comes later. And yeah, you were saying that you think it's going to be on par with a PS4. I think, yeah, and then you said 4K, so I agree with you. I think it's going to be on par with the PS4 Pro, which was 4K compatible. So yeah,
Correct.
I do think that it's going to be on par with that technology, which is going to be a problem for Microsoft and PlayStation, because I mean, yeah, PS5 and Xbox Series X look pretty amazing nowadays on 4K televisions with 120 hertz and all these bells and whistles, but they aren't handheld consoles. They aren't hybrids. They don't have the pedigree of the IPs that Nintendo has. And Nintendo games in 4K, wow, what a juggernaut. Like, that hasn't happened yet. It was revolutionary whenever they finally had the Wii U in a HD console. Everyone was blown away. Everyone's going to be equally blown away whenever you see Mario in 4K.
I also know there was also a rumor on the launch title. They said some people got a peek at Metroid Prime 4, and they said it's probably the most. They said it was probably the best looking video game they've ever seen. Like, how crazy is that? The best video game you've ever seen? Like, I mean, like by like picture and color wise and everything like that. Has to be a Switch 2 release. Because I mean, think about how great that would be. Let's say like there's a special collector's edition for the original releases. There's a standard version and a Metroid version. That would be freaking killer. because they owe me a Metroid Switch. I don't care what you're saying, Nintendo. If you hear me right now, you will make me a Metroid Switch. I'm tired of playing with you guys.
Nintendo, if you're listening to me, don't make him a Metroid Switch until you make Konami give me a proper Castlevania sequel. Please. Don't give it to him. I will be upset.
Nope, I need it right now. You gave me
Nope,
one 3DS.
Don't listen to him.
One 3DS, and I need a. Why are you getting a Zelda Switch and I don't get one? I don't get a Metroid Switch. It's not fair.
Well, I'm never going to get a Castlevania
Mario
Switch
even got Joy-Cons. I couldn't even get like some Metroid Prime Joy-Cons. Like just put the S Samus and put some orange on it. Yeah. Come on now.
Hey, you got your 3DS.
That
thing's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is gorgeous, but mine came with a damn dent in it. I was so mad about that. I was like, it had one little dent in it. I'm like, but I'm not like the Uber, like, oh, it's got to be perfect. As long as it works, I don't care.
You know. Hey, Geski, you would have like sent it back with a strongly worded letter.
No, he wouldn't. He would have walked there. He would have knocked on Nintendo's door and was like, "Do you give me this crap? What is this? Yeah. I've supported you for 20 years. Craziness.
You guys in your dented boxes."
But that's why I think Nintendo Switch 2 has come out. I know it's going to sell like gangbusters because the Switch is so dang popular. And I think the collecting realm of it, I know Nintendo knows that that's why they're going to make it backwards compatible with it. I do hope they use bigger cards this time. I really do. At least a gig or 2 gigs.
There's one more prediction about the 4K aspect and maybe backwards compatibility. I think if they were smart, if they're going to lean into this 4K compatible Nintendo thing, that they would put an upscaler also.
Yes.
In the console to upscale the current Nintendo Switch games to 4K.
And one more thing, Nintendo, just bring back the Virtual Console. Get rid of Nintendo Online. Virtual Console. I want to own my games. I don't want to borrow them from you.
Yeah.
And speaking of Nintendo, we're going to go from Nintendo Switch 2 all the way back into the younger days where we basically did not know how to beat video games. And then this beautiful thing came from the sky and it had Mario and Clay. And it was basically our way of telling our friends how cool we were about knowing different Nintendo games. And that would be the Nintendo Powers. And I brought this topic up to IBARRA because I've been seeing lately CGC going mad hot on Nintendo Powers. Mm-hmm. So we know that the video game water thing kind of blew up in their faces. And what did they do? They went back to their OG things, which was kind of like comics, magazines. A lot of people don't know knowledge of Nintendo Powers. There's 2 different versions of the first one. And there's a sample copy. There's a regular copy that came out. And people are trying to grab up all the first copies of number 1s, and they're trying to CGC them, and they're trying to, I've seen them online, people trying to sell them for like $700. Do you feel that this is something that's going to stay around, or do you think this is just a fad that's going to keep happening based on people wanting something that's collectible to be worth a bunch of money?
I think it's a fad with comments. I think it's a fad. But I don't think that Nintendo Powers are just magically going to become affordable after that. I think Nintendo Powers are now going to be, like a lot of other things, out of reach for anyone starting a collection. So if you don't already have a collection of Nintendo Powers, well, I'm sorry, friend. You're shit out of luck. Because these people are... Yeah, people are scooping all this stuff up, and yeah, like you said, they're slabbing them. So there's only going to be less of them out there, especially the good condition ones. So yeah, you might be able to find something in bad condition at an affordable price, but forget about finding a number 1 in decent shape, because they've already been sent to CGC or they're on their way right now, or about to be. That being said, I don't think that these things should be out of reach for collectors. I think back to like Magic the Gathering, nerdy card game for anyone who hasn't played it. But I used to play Magic the Gathering all the time back in the early 90s. It came out in like 93. I was playing in like 94, 95. And all of these original cards, like Black Lotus, the Power 9 is what they call them, Moxes, Time Walk, Time Twister, whatever. They're on what's called a reserved list. So it'll never be printed again. And so investors can take that and that information. They know exactly what the print run was for the alpha and beta sets. So, the cards are only going up. What I would love to see is Nintendo, who owns the property, owns the IP for Nintendo Power. I want to see reprints. Reprint the shit out of that stuff and fuck over all these asshole collectors and speculators, please. That shit is meant to be read. Like yes. Indiana Jones said, it belongs in a museum. It belongs for people to be able to see and enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I got lucky with mine. I got mine all one swoop, but I also got the guides and things like that because I'm from that era. This is how I used to do it. I beat a game, then I come back to the guide and I go through the game and see what I missed. That's what I always did. It's like a thing. I still pull mine out when I'm playing like my Polymega with the Nintendo and things like that. I still do that old school style. I'll pull something out and read it. My problem with it is that they're only speculating crap. It's not like it's worth money. They're just putting things in plastic and doing what I call fishing. They just throw it out there with some ridiculous price. Some knucklehead buys it, and then they're like, "Oh, that's the value." And they've been doing that all over the place. What's funny is why you get mad at WATA, okay? Let me just be honest with you. Why are you getting mad at WATA for sealing games and you guys getting mad at them being hypocrites, but you're turning around and you're doing the same thing with cards and comic books and magazines. What is that going to mean? EGM now is going to be sealed in plastic? Does that mean freaking Game Pro and all those are going to be put in plastic? And then, like, of course, like, everyone's doing the Uber collecting thing. Well, it's got to have the comic and it's got to have all the pieces to it. There's newsletters variants that they're making up because it's at the end of their, the subscription period. It has a sticker on it. They're like, that's a variant. That's a very uncommon hard variant. It's not. It's just that your mom didn't want to pay for another damn subscription to fucking Nintendo Power.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean anything. It's nothing special. But if you want a really funny thing to go look at, follow the Nintendo Powers group on there. And you know who the person that we know that is the biggest instigator of it. You know who he is. I know who he is. And he tries to make up all this stuff all the time. I just get frustrated with it because guess what? I have the rarest piece of Nintendo Power, which is what? The Fun Club.
Yeah, the Fun Club.
I have a Fun Club number 1. I have a Fun Club number 1, guys. And the thing is that that's supposed to be rarer than the number 1. But guess what? The number 1 with CGC, they're saying is more than what I have for my number 1 for Nintendo Power Fun Club. And mine's way more uncommon to find. You're never going to find that thing because it was forwarded in mail. It was dirty. It's all kinds of stuff. I probably got I could probably go throw that in and probably make $1 million off of it. I don't think so. It's just, I think it's a fad. I do love that, like hand-drawn gaming, for example.
Yeah.
Bringing that back, that love and respect for it. Love that. I wish my Supermind, like you said, reprints. Why don't you just make hand-drawn gaming do reprints of your Nintendo Powers?
That'd be dope.
Now, that would be freaking mind-blowing.
I don't think that goes far enough. I want Nintendo to go in there and take what's theirs and blow up this little niche community of Nintendo Power gatekeepers.
Well, they do. I'm wondering why they haven't done like PDFs for them. Like you could charge people like $1 or something like that, and get the reprints on digital, so they can you actually go through your tablet and switch through them and look through them.
Yeah,
it'd be another easy option with people now, especially with tablets. I would buy them for sure if they give me like a whole,
absolutely,
like instead of 100.
Yeah, and for anyone out there who's taking what I'm saying and say, yeah, put your money where your mouth is, like give away your number 1 Nintendo Power. Well, guess what? I did. I gave away one of them. Ben's Game Zone right now has blind bags in their vending machine for video games, and one of the prizes that I put in there with no compensation is a number 1 Nintendo Power, because I think someone should be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys need to do your knowledge looking first. Make sure you do your eBay things because people are gonna fish. I always love the guys. I've been seeing it for years. Everyone that puts that $14,000 wish list thing, like thinking like down the road
Yeah.
someone's gonna pay that much money, which never happens. But please respect Nintendo Power. Please enjoy Nintendo Powers. Open them up, use them like they were supposed to be, and enjoy them. Don't sit there. And I understand like putting them in comic book plastic and cardboard. I get all that. I do mine with that, but just enjoy it and not make not make this the new hot WADA thing that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, because like, you know, Eric and I actually grew up in the era whenever we had the subscriptions. My first issue, I think, was number 16, which was Maniac Mansion, and I had a subscription for years. So I've got a whole lot of back issues with my name on it. It's nostalgic to me. I'm one of those. I was one of those kids that carried it around all the time. Like, you know, if my parents made me go to like my sister's freaking gymnastics meet, I remember like wearing out the what was the 50th issue? Was that Link's Awakening?
I think so. Yeah.
I vividly remember taking that issue with me and like wearing it the fuck out because I would take that shit everywhere. That's where I got all my information. I was a Nintendo fanboy, man. Pre-internet, so that's where you got your info, is these magazines. And you know, like to anyone collecting Nintendo Powers because they were nostalgic to you, my hat off to you. But again, this conflated market, this bubble that's being produced because you know, these speculators trying to ruin just yet another thing in the collecting, like video game collecting, have made it out of reach for people.
I will tell you one Nintendo Power funny story to lead off this before we go to the next topic. But I ordered as a kid. You're speaking of Link's Awakening. I bought the Link's Awakening guide and the Super Metroid guide. I bought them, took a check in the mail. I sent it out.
I got the Chrono Trigger guide that way.
And it came back like, so I was on vacation with my mom and my grandma picked up our mail. So my grandma didn't care about anything. So she basically picked it up and she just tossed it in her little bin and forgot all about it. I thought like maybe it got lost in the mail. I don't know. So then I was going to Arizona for the Game On Expo and she said, "Hey, I found this old mail for you." And I looked at the front and it said Nintendo of America. And I was like, what the hell? And I opened them up and it was a brand new Super Metroid guide and a brand new Link's Awakening guide.
And
I was like, I've been looking for these things for 20 years. And like now I finally got it. My grandma was like, sorry, I didn't know. I put it in the bin and totally forgot about it. So that's pretty funny that, you know, Nintendo Powers love them. I think they should be very appreciated, and make sure if you are getting them, do not pay too much money. They should only be $1 a piece. If someone's charging you $5 to $10 per issue, you need to walk away.
Nintendo, reprint them, please.
Yes. Last but not least, our Magdx retrospective. The games we played, IBARRA here had The Mummy on the Switch, and I had Booby Shooter Galore on the Xbox 360. Autonomous, excellent, which was a very I have to say, very different game, sir.
It's a cute 'em up.
It is a cute 'em up. So what did you think about The Mummy?
The Mummy was really cool. It was you know, it's a traditional Metroidvania, but it's the atmosphere is kind of where Metroidvanias lose or grab my attention. And this one didn't really grab my attention because it's a little bit bland. You start off as like, I mean, you're playing as just like a nameless soldier. You're not even anyone special, really. So right there, strike one for me. But it's got really tight gameplay. It's got really tight controls. It's got pretty cool boss fights. I only played up until the first boss, which was that giant spider boss. So it's an enjoyable one. I really like it, but I don't think it's anything that is going to crack my like top 100.
The game itself, I love the music on it. I love that it's a survival horror version of a Metroidvania instead of usually like, oh, you got to go over here and find things like that. I also like that if you die, you have to fight yourself to get your stuff back, which is like because you turn into a zombie and then you have to fight your own self. That's like he's a zombie holding a gun trying to shoot you, or he'll try to throw grenades at you and stuff. I do laugh that they made crickets as a bad guy. I get it. I know it's like a whole mummy theme to it, but it's just kind of silly. The other thing too is the developer of the game, they couldn't get Russell Crowe's likeness from the Tom Cruise movie, so he just basically dressed himself up, which he looks just like him. It's hilarious. But I think it's a really fun game. If you've never tried it out, I would definitely take a peek at it. You can get it digitally for like really, really cheap. You don't have to get a physical copy of it, but really, really good.
Yeah.
Mine, Autonomous Excellence. This reminds me of Gradius in some shape, form, or way. I like it's kind of like where you level up the different level. You basically have a risk and reward. You can keep leveling yourself up until you want to get it like overpowered, or if you're to call in a bind, you can pick out something really quickly.
Yeah.
I also was cracking up that they used Pac-Man sound effects and Contra sound effects in the same game, which was funny because every time you got a power up, it did that. It's like when you eat the giant pellet, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, how did Konami get away with that? But then I kept hearing the one-up thing for Contra, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I'm like, oh my god, it's the one-up from Contra. I wish it wasn't so much in Japanese so I could understand some of the story. It was just like, okay, other random girl fighting you. Oh, random fucking girls fighting you. But I do like that they did the Gradius throwbacks when you go through level to level, where you're in the space. And I giggled because the first thing I saw was a spinning disc, and I'm like, oh, that's Gradius.
Yeah. Well, so it is
because
Gradius had an offshoot. What's up?
Oh, I said sorry. I called it Gradius. I don't know the official name for it, so I apologize.
Oh, it's fine. I call it Gradius. I don't care. But Gradius had a an offshoot shoot 'em up called Parodius. Those were on the Famicom, Super Famicom, Sega Saturn. I mean, there were a lot of them. But they were mostly in Japan, actually, maybe almost exclusively in Japan. I can't think of one that actually got a US release. So this was actually the first one in that series that got a US release, as far as I know. Because there was Otomedius Gorgeous and then Otomedius Excellent, which is the one that came out on the Xbox 360. But Otomedius is actually part of the Gradius series and the Parodius series of Q-em-ups. So yeah, it draws parallels to Gradius because it is a Gradius game.
That's pretty interesting. It's always weird. I always wish I knew the history of Q-em-ups. Like, where did the first one start, and why is it so popular? I know a lot of people love them. You know, Magical Chase and all those type of ones like that.
Yeah.
But like, it makes me laugh because it reminds me of a friend in the '90s. Like, he was all with these anime girl posters with big boobs and stuff like that, which always made me laugh. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, you don't know the Japanese stuff? And I'm like, no, I have no clue. But remember you going to BX with me and you're telling me to get this game, this and something else, and you're like, you gotta try it out. I suck at shoot 'em ups, guys. I am the worst. If there was a top tier of shooters, IBARRA would be way up here, and I'd be down here somewhere on my rug. I'm horrible at them. I have no reflexes, so I was getting killed a lot in that game. A lot. Yeah. I don't know. I want to get better at them, but dude, it's just I think I should have been young and played them.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing R-Type and Gradius and Life Force and all those things. Like Tiger Heli was one of my favorites on the NES.
Tiger Heli is the best.
I love shoot 'em ups. Love them.
It's funny, like when Harold was over there with you, and I was just listening to you guys go back and forth, like kind of like stepbrothers. Like, did you play this? Did you play this? Do you like this one? Do you like this one? And I had no clue. And then
Ryan's the same way. Ryan is a huge shoot 'em up fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
The funniest portion of it was you gave me some game that was on the PS4. It was an old one, and you and Harold were laughing at me while I was panicking because I couldn't. All those bullet hells make me nervous, man. Because I hate that I can't get away from stuff.
Love them, man. Like, love them.
What evil person made that game?
It's some awesome stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got our next week's retrospective. I'll let you go first, and then I will present mine.
Okay. So we talked earlier in the episode about light gun games in your
Yes.
Ghost Squad. I have a certain assignment for you, and I think you're going to know what it is.
Okay.
I want you to complete all 3 games in the Silent Scope Complete collection.
I don't have the sniper rifle.
Well, we need to get that for you. And specifically, if you can't complete all 3 of the games, then you at least have to get a headshot on that teddy bear. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I will try. That's like the hardest thing. I got one for you, and your challenge is if you can just beat the first level, I will sing your prayers.
Uh-oh.
And that would be the Uncanny X-Men.
Oh no.
It is the hardest, most
Oh, no.
annoying game known to man on the
All
NES. If you can beat the first level, then you'll get all the props from me. That is
All
your
right.
challenge for this week.
I'm excited to try. I've already got my retro USB AVS console hooked up,
so you'll be able to play it. Yep. So this is your challenge. You're gonna cost a lot at this game. So have fun with that. Everyone hates it. I love LJN games, and I thought we need to bring some of those LJN games back.
Oh hell.
Yep. That beautiful rainbow, on here.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because they try to hide it over the top of the they try to make this look like a comic book, and they try to hide it, which is hilarious. I think they were getting bad reps at that time, but it's a really, really terrible game. Last but not least, last week's corrections. Do you have any corrections to go over?
I think I had 2, but there's only one that I can remember right now, and that's I was talking about the Samsung Nuon and Nuon enhanced DVDs, like movies.
Yeah.
I got the list incorrect. The Nuon compatible movies, I did get 2 of them right. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and Bedazzled are 2 of them, but I said Crocodile Dundee, which is not correct. Dr. Dolittle 2 is an enhanced one, and so is Planet of the Apes.
Wow.
So there's only 4. I was right about that. There's only 4 that are compatible, but those are the 4. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, Bedazzled, Dr. Dolittle 2, and Planet of the Apes.
Well, it's funny because I remember Planet of the Apes had like a big deal coming out with it when they were doing the re-release of it. Everyone was like acting like it was going to be the new greatest movie, and it was terrible as Godzilla in the 90s, except for the Puff Daddy song. Yeah. Puff Daddy song was pretty tight.
So yeah, that's it for me and corrections.
I don't think I had any corrections, but trying to think if I had any. But the me joking around with Jeff Gatsky, that's I just try to have fun with that. So if he thought I was being silly last week, I apologize. I just thought it was funny. He gave me the old dad speech about you should know my name, and it's like I'm sorry. So love you, brother. Hope you're doing great stuff out there. And listen, bub, you need to take a joke in stride. Love you. Thank you for joining us on Magdx episode 9. Next week will be our season finale, episode 10. We will possibly have a special guest on here that's pretty epic. He's pretty much one of my brothers. It's going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match, I think so.
Yeah, it will be.
Team Castlevania there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be he might come back with the shooter stuff on me as well. So it might be a switch. It might be what we call a swerve in wrestling. But thank you guys for following us. Make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Do you got any links you want to give out to the audience here?
Yeah, so we mentioned it, but my video game collector's field guide is in its final days on Kickstarter. 9 days left, and yeah, it's already funded, but now we're trying to hit some stretch goals. I've got one at 15,000 and one at 20,000. So let's make a final push. Go ahead. I mean, like it helps immensely to share. Like one of the things that you can't do on Facebook and all these different like collecting sites is to self-promote, but you guys can promote for me. Wink, wink.
Yes.
So
Those elbows.
Oh yeah, whatever you guys can do to help me out. Oh my gosh, it helps so much. Yeah. So and if you want to check out my console collecting guide, which is already out there, it's premiumeditiongames.com. Available right now, and it'll ship like within days if you guys buy that. So that's all I got.
Also, it's currently cheaper to buy it on Kickstarter than it will be later. So if you wait and delay, this is your chance to get a cheaper value.
Yep.
So make sure you get them in within the 9 days. You can, like I said, you can follow me on GI Gamer 1981 and on Instagram. I throw videos on there all the time. Small videos based on things I pick up, different little things I'm working on. I'm big now, as you saw. Last night I did the Metroid Dread little red logo thing for my stairs.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
And my next project is something that you helped me put together, and I can't wait to get the frame in for it so I can show you guys. I'm hoping to get it done before episode 10 so I can show you guys on the show. But I appreciate all the love and respect. I'm at 90 followers. I'm trying to get to 100. That's the goal, 100.
Yeah.
Instagram's kind of new, but the Facebook, I'm currently at 90 and I have 77 followers. Please support me, share me, just like IBARRA. Hope you guys have a great evening. Remember to slash, break, and open your games at all times. Make sure that you take your laser eyes and cut them open. You do not want to keep them sealed. You want to enjoy your games, play your games, and we'll see you next week, bub. Later.